Learn English. Meet Alex, a determined English learner, perpetually frustrated by an invisible barrier. He devoured textbooks and audio lessons, yet conversations felt like an uphill battle. The words, so clear in his mind, often dissolved into a jumbled mess when he tried to speak them aloud. This constant struggle chipped away at his confidence daily. His biggest nemesis was the endless stream of mistakes. Every verb tense seemed to conspire against him, every preposition felt like a trick. He'd open his mouth, a confident sentence forming, only for a wrong article or an awkward phrase to slip out, causing instant regret. This often led to immediate silence. Remembering words was another colossal challenge. He'd learn a new set of vocabulary today, confidently using them in drills, only to find them completely vanished from his memory tomorrow. It was as if his brain had a selective amnesia for English terms, especially when under pressure during a real conversation. He wondered, how do people speak English so effortlessly? He observed native speakers, their sentences flowing like a river, their idioms perfectly placed. They seemed to possess a secret rhythm, a natural cadence that eluded him despite all his dedicated efforts. Their ease was truly baffling. This constant self-criticism, "Why do I always make mistakes?" echoed in his mind. It paralyzed him, making him hesitant to speak, fearing judgment or misunderstanding. The weight of perceived imperfection was heavy, crushing his desire to practice and engage with others. He felt stuck. One evening, alone in his apartment, Alex stood before a mirror. He took a deep breath, deciding to confront his fears head-on. "How to talk at home to yourself," he whispered, a new strategy forming. It felt silly, yet strangely liberating to speak without an audience. He began describing his day, simple actions, the objects around him. "This is a lamp. It gives light," he articulated slowly. There was no one to correct him, no one to judge his pronunciation. This private space became a safe haven for unfiltered English expression, a rare comfort. He also started narrating his thoughts, his plans for the weekend. "Tomorrow, I will go to the park. I hope the weather is good," he practiced. It was a stream of consciousness in English, building muscle memory for his tongue and brain, without the external pressure of a real conversation. This self-talk revealed patterns in his mistakes. He noticed consistent errors with certain verb conjugations or plural forms. This personal diagnostic tool was invaluable, allowing him to target specific weaknesses in his grammar without the added anxiety of public scrutiny. He also consciously imitated the way other people talk in English. He watched interviews, listened to podcasts, and paused to repeat phrases. He paid attention to intonation, stress patterns, and the subtle nuances that gave native speech its natural flow and expressiveness. He noticed how people paused, how they used filler words like, or like, not as a sign of weakness, but as natural breathers in conversation. He began incorporating these into his self-talk, making his English sound more authentic, less robotic and strained. The goal was clear: how to improve your fluency. He understood fluency wasn't about perfection, but about the ability to communicate smoothly and effectively. It was about overcoming hesitation, about finding the words quickly, even if they weren't always perfectly chosen. Alex started focusing on connecting words, reducing pauses between ideas. He practiced linking sounds, making his speech flow more naturally, less like individual words strung together. This technique, called connected speech, significantly enhanced his overall rhythm and pace. He learned that active listening was paramount. He stopped just hearing words and began truly listening for context, for emotion, for the speaker's intent. This deeper engagement improved his comprehension and also provided a mental database of natural English expressions. Listening became an immersive experience. He didn't just passively consume, he actively analyzed. He picked up new vocabulary and context, understanding idioms from their usage, rather than memorizing isolated definitions. This made words stick more effectively in his mind. Regarding remembering words, he adopted a new strategy. Instead of rote memorization, he created mental images for new words, associating them with vivid scenes or personal experiences. He also tried using new words immediately in his self-talk or short journal entries. He would write short sentences incorporating the new vocabulary, creating a personal connection to each word. For example, learning ephemeral, he'd write, "The beauty of a sunset is truly ephemeral." This active recall strengthened his memory pathways significantly. Flashcards became interactive. He'd write a word on one side, and a sentence using it, along with a small drawing, on the other. He reviewed these regularly, but focused on recalling the sentence and image first, before checking the word itself. Now, let me tell you some talking tips Alex discovered. The first was to embrace mistakes. He realized that every error was a learning opportunity, a signal for where he needed to improve, not a reason to stop speaking or feel ashamed. Another crucial tip: focus on getting your message across, not on perfect grammar. Communication is the primary goal. Even if you stumble, if the listener understands you, you have succeeded. Confidence often outweighs grammatical precision in real conversations. He also learned the power of simplification. If he couldn't recall a complex word, he'd use simpler terms. If a sentence structure was too difficult, he'd rephrase it. It was about being flexible, adaptable, and pragmatic in his approach to speaking. Furthermore, he started using scaffolding phrases. These are phrases like, "What I mean is," or "Let me rephrase that." They bought him time to think and allowed him to correct himself gracefully without feeling awkward or losing the listener's attention. He practiced asking clarifying questions. "Could you repeat that?" or "Did I understand correctly?" This showed engagement and ensured mutual understanding. It also reduced the pressure to always get it right on the first attempt, making conversations less stressful. Consistency became his mantra. Short, daily practice sessions proved far more effective than sporadic long ones. 10 minutes of self-talk or active listening every day accumulated into significant progress over weeks and months, truly astounding him. He cultivated a curious mindset. He wasn't afraid to ask native speakers about idioms or cultural nuances. Most people were happy to explain, and these interactions deepened his understanding and made his English more colorful and authentic. Alex also realized the importance of emotional connection to the language. When he spoke about topics he genuinely cared about, the words flowed more easily. Passion for the subject matter significantly boosted his confidence and fluency. He created a small English-speaking routine. In the morning, he'd listen to a short news segment. During his commute, he'd practice self-talk. In the evening, he'd watch a show in English with subtitles, actively noting new expressions. The journey wasn't linear. There were days of frustration, moments where old habits resurfaced. But now, he had tools and strategies. He knew how to pick himself up, adjust his approach, and keep moving forward, rather than giving up entirely. He started noticing subtle improvements. The pauses in his speech became shorter. He found himself recalling words almost instinctively. The fear of making mistakes began to recede, replaced by a growing sense of capability and eagerness to communicate. His internal critic, once a loud, condemning voice, softened. He started viewing mistakes not as failures, but as markers of progress, evidence that he was pushing his boundaries and actively engaging with the language. This mindset shift was transformative. Listening to English became a pleasure, not a chore. He could follow complex discussions, grasp humor, and understand different accents. This improved comprehension fueled his confidence, making him feel more connected to the global English-speaking community. He found joy in the nuances of English. The rhythm of a sentence, the subtle difference between synonyms, the cleverness of an idiom. The language transformed from a daunting obstacle into an exciting new world waiting to be explored and mastered. His conversations with others started feeling more natural, less strained. He could maintain eye contact, respond promptly, and even initiate topics. The flow was still not perfect, but it was miles ahead of his initial hesitant, fragmented attempts. People noticed his progress. Friends who knew his initial struggles complimented his improved communication skills. This external validation was incredibly motivating, reaffirming that his consistent efforts were indeed yielding tangible results. He even started participating in online English discussion groups, something he would have never dared to do before. The low-pressure environment allowed him to practice speaking with diverse learners, exchanging ideas, and building rapport. These online interactions broadened his understanding of how other people talk in English from various backgrounds. He encountered different accents, regional expressions, and communication styles, further enriching his linguistic repertoire and adaptability. He learned that English is not monolithic, it's a vibrant tapestry of dialects and personal styles. Accepting this diversity made him less self-conscious about his own unique accent or occasional non-standard phrasing, embracing his authentic voice. Alex also embraced the power of storytelling. He would recount anecdotes from his life in English, even if just to himself. This practice of narrative construction helped him organize his thoughts and convey complex ideas more coherently. He discovered that emotionally charged stories, even simple ones, were easier to remember and retell. Linking vocabulary to personal narratives made the words stick in his long-term memory, enhancing recall during spontaneous conversations significantly. He understood that fluency isn't a destination but a continuous journey of learning and refinement. There would always be new words, new expressions, new nuances to master. The goal was to enjoy the process, not just chase an elusive endpoint. His journey taught him that confidence is the true driver of fluency. When he felt secure in his ability to communicate, even with imperfections, his actual speaking performance improved dramatically. Fear was the biggest impediment, not lack of knowledge. He shared his talking tips with others now. Don't be afraid to sound silly when talking to yourself, he advised. It's the safest space to experiment and build that crucial muscle memory for your tongue and mind. Listen actively, he'd tell them. Don't just hear. Analyze the intonation, the rhythm, the flow. Try to mimic it in your own practice. This is how you truly internalize the sounds and patterns of natural English speech. And remember words by using them, he emphasized. Context is key. Link new vocabulary to images, to personal experiences, to stories. Use them immediately, even if it's just in a whispered sentence to yourself. Mistakes are your friends, not your enemies, he'd declare with a knowing smile. They highlight your learning edge. Embrace them, learn from them, and then move on. Every mistake made is a step closer to mastery. Fluency comes from consistency, not intensity, he stressed. A little bit every day beats a lot once a week. Make English a regular part of your life, like brushing your teeth. Small habits yield big results. He found immense satisfaction in helping other struggling learners. Sharing his journey and the strategies that worked for him gave his own learning an added purpose and reinforced his belief in the power of persistent effort. Alex's story became a beacon of hope for many. He proved that overcoming language barriers wasn't about innate talent, but about strategic practice, unwavering dedication, and a willingness to step outside one's comfort zone repeatedly. From a hesitant whisper to confident discourse, his transformation was remarkable. He now engaged in lively debates, understood complex lectures, and even cracked jokes in English, enjoying every moment of linguistic freedom he had earned. His advice resonated: don't chase perfection, chase communication. This simple mantra freed many from the shackles of self-doubt, allowing them to speak freely, express themselves authentically, and truly enjoy their English learning adventure. So, if you're battling with your English, take a leaf from Alex's book. Start talking to yourself, listen intently, embrace every stumble, and remember that every word you learn, every sentence you form, builds towards your ultimate fluency. The journey is uniquely yours, filled with personal discoveries and triumphs. Celebrate every small victory, no matter how insignificant it may seem. These cumulative successes will propel you forward on your path to English mastery. Remember, the path to fluency is not a race, but a marathon. Consistency, patience, and a positive mindset are your most powerful allies in this exciting linguistic adventure. Never stop learning, never stop speaking. Embrace the discomfort of making mistakes, it signifies growth. Every time you push past that discomfort, you strengthen your linguistic muscles and build resilience. This courage is more valuable than perfect grammar. Your voice matters, even in a new language. Allow it to emerge, to experiment, to be heard. The world is waiting to hear your unique perspective, expressed confidently and clearly in English. Continue to listen English, immerse yourself in authentic materials, and let the rhythm of the language sink deep into your subconscious. This passive learning is just as vital as active speaking practice. Finally, understand that true fluency is about connection. It's about bridging gaps, sharing ideas, and understanding diverse perspectives. Your English journey is a journey of connection, opening doors to new worlds.